Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys had a great night tonight. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA DFS content. All these videos, they get posted on this subreddit right here. Make updates with all the news, stuff like that. Anything you need, I'll have this link down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right here. No recap tonight. I didn't stack the Lakers, so I did not cash, but my core today was Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Terry Rozier, and Jamie Jackson Jr. So 2 smashes, 2 busts, but yeah, I didn't stack the Lakers, so I just didn't cash. So hopefully you guys had a good night, and yeah, we got a massive slate. If you're looking for more DFS content, Prize Picks, sports books, I'll have my Discord link down below. We got MLB season coming up. I think I'm going to be doing some UFL content as well if you guys are into spring football. Summer League coming up as well, so a lot of great stuff coming up. So yeah, I'll have that link down below. All right, let's get to the slate. And we start here with, we're looking at Brooklyn and Washington. So, yeah, I mean, I think you have to have interest in Brooklyn, especially if Cam Thomas is out. I know they burned everyone last slate, but I'm fine going right back. So, if Cam Thomas is in, I think he's my favorite option at 7.2K. Should play close to 40 minutes. Their go-to guy, phenomenal spot going up against Washington. Really like Cam Thomas if he plays. I think Mikel's still a solid option, but I prefer Cam Thomas. Claxton should play around 30 minutes. Phenomenal spot going up against Washington. He's a center play that I'm pretty high on. Dennis Schroeder is very, very safe. Dorian Finney-Smith is a playable value. Now, if Cam Thomas is out, then, I mean, if no one's going to play Mikal Bridges after his absolute stinker last game in a much better matchup today, at lower ownership, I am fine going back. I think he would look really, really solid. I know it's painful, but he would look very solid once again. Claxton, he might have to play a bit more. I'd really like him. Dennis Schroeder at 6.3K. I'd really, really like him. Dorian Finney-Smith would be a solid value. They started Jalen Wilson last game. He played 30 minutes. I'd like him quite a bit for value. If you guys want to stomach Lonnie Walker and pray to God he doesn't get benched again, go for it. He'll probably be unowned. Watford probably have to play a bit more. He'd be intriguing for value. So yeah, there'd be a ton to like here if Cam Thomas is out, unfortunately. Moving on to Washington, everyone's back. Thank God we don't have to mess with this value of like, I mean, it was pretty fun playing Justin Champagnie and Patrick Baldwin for like a week, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, with everyone back, value on the play for me. Now, they do want to play Bagley, or Holmes, it seems, over Bagley right now. I don't know if it's because of the injury or they just want to give Holmes run. So if he continues to play around 30 minutes, I'm good with him. I think he's a solid value. Like if I knew Holmes continued to get 30 minutes, he'd definitely be a good value. So yeah, I like Holmes there. Kispert should play high 30s minutes if he hits shots. He has a ceiling, just kind of indifferent there. He's probably my favorite outside of Holmes, with the main guys. I think Kispert and Holmes are my 2 favorite plays on this Washington team. I think Poole, Denny, Kuzma, they're all just fine for me. No one really stands out to me point per dollar on the Wizards besides those guys. So let's move on to Cleveland here. Mobley back, Strus could be back. I mean, if Strus is in, it's kind of going to take me off like pretty much all of the value. Even with Mobley back, I don't think I'm going to consider like Niang. I think Okoro is okay, but if Strus backs, it's going to completely take like a Sam Merrill out of play. If Strus is out, you could play Merrill. He has a ceiling. Be an intriguing value. More of a large field GPP play for me though. Mobley on some type of limit, so it's hard to get to him there. It's going to be a hit to Jared Allen as well. Good spot here for Jared Allen, though. He still does have a ceiling. So, like, I still like Jared Allen in GPPs, just with Mobley back. It's going to be a downgrade. And then Garland, LeVert, I think are solid options. LeVert's been better of late. Garland, been a bit up and down. LeVert's been a bit more consistent. I don't know what happened this game. I think he got into foul trouble and then the blowout. But both going to stuff the stat sheet. Both going to do everything for this team offensively. So intrigued by there, I would say their price points are probably about where they should be though. But yeah, no standouts here for Cleveland. Let's move on to Charlotte. I mean, this team has just been awful. Miles Bridges has just been awful. Now you have a tough matchup here going up against Cleveland. Blowout risk. I mean, good thing with Bridges is going to play big minutes. That's really the only good thing with him right now. I mean, nothing more of a large field GPP play for me. Same with like Brandon Miller. I think Mann's priced right. Richards, I think we have better center options. Mitchich, I think is priced right. Poku's been getting run. If no value opens up, sure, you could go there, but we already have some like Portland stuff, possibly Atlanta stuff, etc. Poku's playable. Grant Williams should see around low to mid 20s minutes. It's doable. I think better value will open up. Yeah, pretty disgusting. Let's move on to the Warriors. Tough matchup here for the Warriors. Another team that I am just not too excited about. If Trace Jackson Davis for some reason doesn't play again, sure, you could consider like a mid-price Looney who got decent run today. I believe Draymond got into foul trouble, so Looney got extended, but should play around like 14 or so minutes, which makes him firmly in play at the flat min price if Trace is out again. If Trace is in, I mean, that price point, I think he's overpriced in my opinion. Klay Thompson's been good. I guess it's fine. Draymond, if Trace is out, should play all the minutes he can handle. He's probably my favorite play on this team if Trace is out. Don't like too much else here, though. Like Pods, Chris Paul, Wiggins, they're all just there for me. Find filler plays. It's pretty disgusting. Steph Curry at 8.6. I guess, I mean, he has an insane ceiling for this price point, just not a bad matchup. Has a low 4. He'll probably be really low owned, but the amount of ceiling he has, I guess it's fine. But I think there are other options that I will prefer. Moving on to Orlando. Keep an eye on Gary Harris and Caleb Houston. If they're both out, I really don't know who they're going to start. Anthony Black's been out of the rotation. I guess they could start him, but if they're both out, I would assume Cole Anthony would have to play a decent amount of minutes. Even if just Gary Harris is out and they start like Caleb Houston, I still would like Cole Anthony for value. His minutes have been trending up of late. With no Gary Harris, he'd have to play a bit more. Good point per minute guy as well. So I do like Cole Anthony if Harris is out. If Caleb Houston's out as well, his minutes would be a lot more secure too. They would just have less bodies, right? Definitely prefer him to Markelle Fultz. Isaac, I mean, he's been getting decent run. He's been playing over 20 minutes pretty much every game. I believe he's been closing too. So good point per minute guys, should play around 20 minutes. I think he's solid for value. Don't mind that. Wendell Carter Jr. should play high 20s minutes, 5.2K, good point per minute guy. It's okay. My only concern here is this could be a spot for like Mo Wagner to play a bit more. That's my only concern. And then Suggs, kind of just there for me. I think I prefer Wendell Carter Jr. I think Paolo and Franz both look decent. Paolo, their go-to guy, stat sheet stuffer, good matchup up against the Warriors. I think he's decent. And then Franz down to 6.4K. Does seem a bit too cheap for me. I know the production's been up and down of late, but like the spot going up against the Warriors, played 35 minutes, finally in a competitive game here. In competitive games, he should play low 30s minutes. He's their number 2 on offense. Another guy, good rebounder, can get you peripheral stats. So yeah, I think Franz definitely looks very solid to me. I think the price point is definitely a bit too cheap. So yeah, like Franz there. Moving on to the Knicks. Randall, OG, Robinson out. Keep an eye on Alec Burks. But I mean, you have to have interest in the Knicks with the rotations, the running, the matchup. It's a good matchup going up against Toronto. So definitely some blowout risk here. But with that being said, I mean, Jalen Brunson at the top at 9.4K, I think is a really solid spend up. Definitely pretty high on him. Stat sheet stuffer. Very talented offensively as well, obviously. She'll play decent minutes if the game stays competitive. And then Thibs is just playing their guys even if the game blows out. It's like, you might be safe even if the game blows out. Like Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, both got blowout run last game. They both played over 40 minutes. Dante 41 in a massive blowout. So like, I think you have to have interest in these guys. Dante, Hart, I think are solid options. Miles McBride is going to get blowout too. He looks like a very safe play. Like him quite a bit. Hartenstein's been playing really good. It's a good matchup for him. I don't mind him. I would say he's probably my least favorite, but yeah, I think you have to have interest in this team. Precious Achiuwa got a bit more run last game. And I think that's it. But yeah, Thibs is a psycho. He should take notes from what the Celtics and the Denver Nuggets are doing right now, in my opinion. Let's move on to Toronto. So last game they started Javonte Freeman Liberty over Bruce Brown. So they went with Javonte, Grady Dick, Gary Trent, Kelly Olynyk, and Ochai Agbaji. If they start Freeman Liberty again, and we're expecting high 20s minutes again, I think he's going to stand out as one of the better value plays in the slate. So just keep an eye on the lineup there for Toronto. Bruce Brown, I think, is priced right, especially if he's going to come off the bench. I don't have too much interest there. Kelly Olynyk, fine. Not the best matchup here going up against Toronto. Don't love it. And then Gary Trent, probably my favorite play on this team outside of JFL, assuming JFL starts, just because he's going to chuck when he's out there. But, the Knicks, they're tough. They play slow, etc. Ochai, I think, is priced right. Dick is priced right. And, I think my favorite play is JFL here for Toronto. All right, this is a game where I think we can definitely get some pretty good plays. Jeremy Grant is doubtful. DeAndre Ayton is questionable. Matisse Thybulle is questionable. Let's go over both ways. So if everyone's out, I mean, there's going to be a ton to like here. So Scoot Henderson at 6.1K in a phenomenal spot going up against Atlanta. I would absolutely love. Banton would be firmly in play off the bench. Duop Reith would be a really good play. Kamara, Chris Murray would be solid values. Jabari Walker would be firmly in play. He'd have to get a bunch of run. Good point per minute guy. I believe Rupert's been starting. We're not going to play Rupert, but Hagen's going to get a decent amount of run. He'd be playable. Should be a lot to like here if all these guys are out. Banton got extended because of foul trouble, but he's going to play a ton regardless. And then if for some reason Ayton does play, it kind of takes me off the bigs, like downgrade. Like I probably wouldn't play Reith, downgrade Jabari Walker. Kamara, Chris Murray would still be in play, but I'd still really, really like Scoot. I think Ayton would be a really good play at 8.3K, and then Banton would still be playable. Excuse me, oh my god. But yeah, this Portland team definitely looks pretty good tomorrow. Let's move on to Atlanta. So DeJounte Murray is questionable. If he is in, I love him, assuming this game stays competitive. I mean, both teams are just horrible, so I'd expect it to. So DeJounte Murray, if he plays, I love him at 9.8K. Bog, I think, is a solid play. Capella, Portland has been getting absolutely stomped by opposing bigs. I like him quite a bit at 6.5K. Bruno Fernando is a solid value. He's been getting the backup 5 run of late. DeAndre Hunter is very, very safe. Vic Krejci is a fine value. And if DeJounte Murray is out, I don't even want to know what the starting lineup is going to be for this team. They could do a number of things. They could go Vic Krejci at the point, so like Vic, Bog, Hunter, Capella, and then one of Garrison Matthews, Wesley Matthews, I guess. Or they could start like a Trent Forrest. I mean, keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on the DeJounte Murray news. Could have some more value open up here, but this is a game that I think definitely looks pretty appealing to me. Moving on to the Clippers at Sixers. I mean, this team just healthy. I don't like too much. I think they're all priced right. Harden, Kawhi, Paul George. If you want to go with like the revenge narrative in Philly with Harden, sure, but I never factor that in. Zubac, I think, is priced right. This team's basically pretty easy to talk about for me. It's basically almost a cross-off. So let's move on to the Sixers. Kelly Oubre is questionable. If he's out, they started Nick Batum last game. Don't like much here either. I think Maxey is an okay contrarian option. At 8.8K, he's going to lead this team, do everything for this team. It's not the best spot. Some interest in him. I think Tobias Harris is priced right. Kelly Oubre is overpriced. Paul Reed not getting enough run right now for me to consider him. Bamba, they're kind of splitting the center minutes. Kyle Lowry, we're just going to have so much better value, but he's playable, I guess. If Kelly Oubre is out and they start Batum, don't love it. Yeah, pretty unappealing here for the Sixers. All right, last set of games here, guys. Lakers. So I have a feeling that we're probably not going to see Anthony Davis tomorrow, and I probably have a feeling that we might not see like D'Angelo Russell tomorrow. So just keep an eye on it. LeBron, I believe it was just rest purposes today. Ankle, but I'm assuming that's rest. It's hard to say. I believe some of these guys will probably sit from the game tonight, so it's hard to say. If everyone's in, then I really like Anthony Davis. I think LeBron's solid. Reeves, D'Lo, both be priced right. Rui would be overpriced. I wouldn't touch the value. If for some reason we get AD out and D'Lo out, then I love LeBron James. I love Austin Reeves. Rui Hachimura would be solid. Dimwit would be solid. Prince would be playable. It's just hard to say right now. For some reason, like AD and LeBron both sit. Then it would be, we're playing Reeves, we're playing D'Lo, the bigs, Dinwiddie, Rui would look good. There'll be a lot to like here, so just keep an eye on it. I'm sure some guys are going to rest from the game tonight. All right, moving on to Memphis. Vince Williams doubtful. They started Pippen last game. If he starts again, I actually do think he's a really solid point per dollar play. Just keep an eye on if Goodwin's going to be inactive. He was inactive last game. I will make updates on Reddit letting you guys know the inactives for Memphis. So if we get Pip starting at the point again with Goodwin inactive, I like Pippen quite a bit. G.G. Jackson at 6.2K. He's a guy that's going to chuck when he's out there. I don't mind him. I definitely prefer him to Aldama. And then I'm really, really high on Desmond Bane going up against the Lakers. Don't think he'll get any ownership tomorrow either. So I like Desmond Bane quite a bit. Jaren Jackson Jr. is solid as well. Only center eligible now, which sucks. But yeah, I think my favorite play is definitely Pippen and Bane. All right, moving on to Houston. We do have Jabari Smith back. So what that's going to do, that's going to make Amen Thompson's minutes not as secure. I would say he's probably priced right now. Jabari himself, I think this is a spot where he could play a bit more going up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think there's less of a risk of him getting benched in this spot going up against the Thunder, so I'm intrigued here by him. Jalen Green, FVV are both solid options at this point. I do prefer Jalen Green to Fred VanVleet. He's also playing in blowouts, so I like his ceiling. Fred's very, very safe. Brooks, I think, is priced right. Don't know if I get to the value. Moving on to OKC, I think SGA is a good spend up. I think Chet, Jalen, they're both just there for me. Giddey has been incredible. If you want to keep riding the hot streak with him, go for it. But I don't think I'll be doing it. I'm not going to play Lou Dort on this slate. I think better value will open up. It's a pretty easy game to talk about there. Moving on to the Pacers. Keep it out on Nesmith and McConnell. If they're both out, Nembhard, I would assume, would have to get some backup point unless they go like Ben Shepherd. But if they're both out, I would assume Nembhard would have to play pretty much all the minutes he can handle. I would like Nembhard for value if we are assuming that he does get the backup point run, because his rates at the 1 compared to the 2, like his rates go up so much at point guard compared to playing the 2. So I'm very intrigued by Nembhard if both TJ and Nesmith are out, because I would think it will probably be him getting the backup point. They could go Shep, but they did start Shepard last game. If he starts again, he'd be playable if Nesmith's out. If Nesmith is in, I'm not going to touch that value. Nesmith himself would have to play big minutes, would be very safe. Miles Turner just there for me. Hallie, Siakam, I think are both fine. Not the best spot going up against Chicago. Moving on to Chicago, don't like much here. I mean, it's a good spot going up against the Pacers. I think everyone's just priced right, though. I think Vooch should be able to feast. I think, once again, he's probably my favorite option on this team. I don't know what this game was. I had his over points and over his rebounds. You just don't know what that game. Only 5 shot attempts, definitely disappointing. But I think DeMar and Vooch are probably the guys I'd look to here for Chicago. I don't mind. They're playing huge minutes. I like the spot here. So, like DeMar, like Vooch, I think everyone else is probably priced right. Interesting, Kobe. Io is definitely overpriced. And Alex Caruso is questionable. If he is out, you probably get Craig in the starting lineup. And, Kobe White would look a bit better. And then DeMar and Vooch don't really change too much. All right, moving on to Detroit. Jalen Duren is probable. Going to take Wiseman out of play for me. Cade is questionable. Ton of blowers here going up against Minnesota. Cade's fine. I think Ivy's priced right. Wiseman would be out of play. I don't know if I get to this value. They're probably going to start Cade, Duren, Ivy, Tosin, Troy Brown Jr. or something. If you want to go to whoever starts, Troy Brown, you couldn't pay me to play Troy Brown, but Tosin is really bad. If for some reason they start like a Metu, you can go there, but very unappealing. Moving on to Minnesota. So we'll keep an eye on Gobert. He's been questionable last few games and has played. Anthony Edwards has been questionable as well and played. So if you think this game stays competitive, I love Rudy Gobert at 7.8K. I really like Anthony Edwards at 9.7K. Naz Reid, I believe he started back-to-back games. I think he got benched one game, though. If he starts, he's playable. Mike Conley had a big game last game. Don't mind him. I think, not going to kill you, not going to win you a tournament. Kyle Anderson's still in play off the bench. He's getting the backup 5 right now. And then I don't know if I get too much value. If for some reason Rudy Gobert's out, then love Naz Reid. Love Anthony Edwards. Kyle Anderson would be very good. McDaniels would be solid. NAWF to get more run. And then for some reason Ant's out. Love Anthony Edwards. Love Kyle Anderson. Love Naz Reid. Really like Conley. There would be a ton to like here if both are out. So hope you guys had a great night tonight, and I will talk to y'all in the next video.